I'm not able to see if there's anybody in here on my side.
We're getting there. Actually, I can't see anything either.
Oh,
This sucks. Are we actually live?
yeah.
We are live? Yeah, we are live. All right. I'll be down. All right. I'm just looking at the chat now. Okay, cool. So people are coming in.
I don't see anything in the chat either.
No, you won't see anything in the chat because you don't get exclusive access. But I'm going to tweet you a link so you can follow along. Shout out to everybody in the chat so far. It's been a hell of a week. I want to talk about Dame doesn't know what we're talking about. I just kind of brought him up and I ambushed him.
All good.
You see it now?
I'm just looking at it on my phone. I can see the chat now.
Yeah, it was a crazy week. I don't know if you saw all the Twitter craziness. Thank God I have this. Seriously. I stay relaxed. But you know, I'm getting cyberbullied on Twitter all damn day.
By who?
By, just mean people that
Some mean people.
no, anytime I say anything critical about sending random links to strangers, it's like I'm just stabbing at the heart of all these aspiring producers and rappers and so forth. But I really want to focus on a lot of producer related marketing today, because the majority of the people tuned in are producers, and we already have questions coming in. Well, someone asked me, does CBD help? Yeah, I definitely have anxiety and all types of problems, and I was afraid to take it because, well, someone gave me this, and I was afraid to take it because my body doesn't react well with weed. So I've never been a smoker or a consumer of THC products, but it's not that at all. So it's a different kind of gradual relaxation that I didn't even notice was happening to me until I focused on it. And I wondered why the hell I was in such a stress-free mood, which was a weird state for me to be in at, I think, 7 p.m. on a crazy weeknight. Anyway, we got a few people in here, and last week, me and Dame were on here talking about marketing, and I think it's something that isn't going to go away anytime soon as a concern in the independent musician community, especially with producers, because yeah, we can look at everything that the rappers are doing and they're sending out links and they're doing this and that, but producers are doing the same thing. And it's almost worse for us because we're not sending links out to attract fans per se. We're sending links out to attract customers, right? So there is a difference in what our actual ultimate goals of sending these links out are.
But I wouldn't scrap the idea of trying to reach out to fans as well. Like if you have a brand and a personality that's engaging, I think it helps you find more customers if you do have fans. So I would encourage the producers that are comfortable creating a brand that's forward facing with the fans and that's engaging, because then I think that opens up a lot more opportunities for you to market yourself as well.
Oh, it definitely does. Look at Curtis King. He's a marketing powerhouse. Well, look at Kato. Kato's a marketing powerhouse, um, and he's not shy when it comes to getting in front of a camera, and that's the type of thing that's carrying his brand really, really far, and he's the face of it.
So I think they do well, but I think even going beyond like being a branch, because Cato and Curtis King, they have a very like educational brand that their face is front and center. They're trying to teach and give people guidance. But I would even think beyond that, if you are comfortable, like if you're a comedian and a producer, if you are, um, I hate to use some of these influencers as an example, but you can be a cook and a producer. You can be a producer that uses like a weird sound in your beat every week, and that's how you kind of get more attention to your beats. Or maybe you're a cook and every week you create a beat that uses some utensil in the kitchen because you're a cook and a producer. So I think Cato and Curtis have done a great job at what they're doing, but I would even think beyond that in terms of building your brand outside of music, to help you build a fan base and then potentially customers.
Yeah, you heard the cat beat where someone recorded their cat and then they made a beat out of it.
I think you mentioned, I don't think I saw it myself, but I think you mentioned it before.
You probably disliked it.
I mean, I probably did. Everything's not for me. A lot of things aren't for me, but should somebody keep using a cat in their beats because a cat is part of their brand? They're gonna start having a lot of cat lovers follow them, and they might be able to put out some cat merch, and it just increases the opportunity for exposure, and that's good for people that want beat customers as well.
I need to put out some cat merch. I was interviewing, quick plug. I was interviewing CJ from Song Trust. So you're gonna have a pretty comprehensive video on publishing, especially publishing as it pertains to US producers, very shortly. And then my cat jumped in front of the camera and I was no longer interviewing CJ. My cat was interviewing CJ. But it's a crazy video. I mean, it goes pretty deep into the world of publishing and ownership and copyright and royalty collection for producers. And then Song Trust, CJ will be with us on MEC Tour. And MECTour.com is the place to get tickets. If anyone wants a cheaper ticket, just let me know. I got a discount code for you. I'm gonna type it in the chat too. Because we're all gonna be me, Dame, Kato, CJ from Song Trust. We're gonna be on tour. And so if you're in one of the cities that we hit, Denver, Las Vegas, LA, Oakland, one of my for Phoenix, then I'd love to have one of these conversations live and in person. So sign up mectour.com. And then the other thing too is that's just uh the first leg of the tour. We're going to continue in different markets.
Yeah, we're definitely going to put together another leg, possibly two, of the tour. So even if you don't see your city on the list now, please share it with other people, with your friends that might live in those cities, because as these are successful, it's more encouraging for us to put together more of these. So hopefully we'll get within, a 3-hour driving radius of everybody in the country before the year's up.
Yeah. So anyway, back to me getting cyberbullied on Twitter. And Dame not defending me.
I mean, it's not like you're just saying, "Hey, can you stop that?" You do insert some humor and make them feel stupid. So them retaliating in a way, that seems mean is kind of warranted, given how you address them. You make them feel really stupid, and it's entertaining for me. So that's fine to me. So keep it up.
Hey, I can't make anybody feel stupid. They choose to feel stupid because of my words. But I don't go out insulting people. Like, look, I can go in on somebody. That's just how I was raised. If you've ever met my mother, you'd understand. But I don't do that for the most part. I point out resources on marketing properly, and I do like to point out how pointless just sending random links to people is. But the justification for that you always hear is people saying, I don't care who listens to my music, I just want someone to listen to it. And it's like, come on, man, it's 2019. Is that really your goal? And it just shows me that if you don't have any kind of plan, you're destined to walk that path of the artist without goals, without a focus. if you go in the dating world, if you go out into the dating world and say, I don't care who I date, I just want to date somebody. I mean, you might be a lesbian going out to a bar meeting some 87-year-old man because you just don't care. That doesn't make any damn sense in the dating world. Why does it make sense in the marketing world? And marketing, trust me, is a lot easier than dating. So
Is it?
have a focus.
Yeah, I mean, so I agree 100% with what you're saying, but I think spamming, like there was a such thing as like spamming, like back in the days before we were like bombarded with so much information, or maybe when we just got introduced to the internet, like it might have been easy to spam and get some traction that way. But now with so many people being so savvy at marketing, you got to really be creative to get the word out about what you're doing. You have to have a solid understanding of your brand. You have to put together a strategy, because that's what other people are doing, not just other artists and producers, but other companies and other, everybody that's online that has some products or brands. They're being a lot more strategic. So you just like spamming people, you know there's technology that's being developed to filter you out. If you're just spamming your links on your page, like Facebook might flag you and then delete your page. Google Gmail has like filters in emails now to like get spam out of there. So it's even harder to spam now. So it's just pointless. It's a waste of your time. It's more important for you to learn marketing and to come up with a strategy that actually works, because you're doing nothing but wasting your time and pissing paint off. So
I mean, my thing is, if you don't have a direction, you're just going to wander, or you're going to stay in the same place. So when I talk to somebody who says, I don't care who listens to my music, I just want listens, is that really what you want? Or have you just not even considered it? Um, and anybody who says, well, I don't care who listens to my music, is not ready to do music as a career, period. Literally no one else in any other career field. If you're a teacher, you can't not know what subject or what grade level you're going to teach. If you're a doctor, you can't not know what area of medicine you're going to practice. If you're a lawyer, you can't not know what area of law you're going to focus in on. It just doesn't work that way in any other field, but somehow a lot of us think music is the exception. I don't know why. But if you think music is, if you choose a music career just because you think it's an easy way out, or it's this field in which you can be lazy and successful at the same time, it's not for you. You're not ready. But the and this is the type of thing that I'll say that offends people. Oh my God, why are
no,
you
you
so
don't, you
mean?
don't you don't say it like that. Let me try to find some stuff that you actually said.
This is a big, because I swear I'm not being like people. The way that people react to me, you would think I'm on there just roasting the last thing their mother wore to church last Sunday. I'm just on there saying, yo, don't do that. And there are better ways, and then people freak out. But the argument is always, nah, this works, or it sort of works. It's still there are, there's still a merit to this. You know what I mean?
Right.
My screen is not dirty, man. That's just the light. Good Lord, man. See, cyberbullies are everywhere. See, look at the light. Changes. Is that better? Jesus. And what was I gonna say? People kept bringing up, because Dame, you and I spoke about this. I think way back, you're right, when the internet wasn't as saturated, people were a little more receptive to spam. Now we're just annoyed. And I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about everybody out there. They don't want to see that. Like I said to you, when I went on I was looking for an end table on the buy sell trade of my county on Facebook, and it was full of music links. Our contest, collab for the crown.com, we're running a contest where we're giving away thousands of dollars cash and prizes. all you have to do is get a beat that Kato and I made and collaborate with someone on it. That's how you enter. The first like 30 entries were spam. So some rapper is thinking, I'm just going to completely ignore the rules of this contest. There are very clear rules. I'm going to completely ignore the rules of this contest and just drop my SoundCloud link in here because I don't care about rules. They don't apply to me. Somehow I'm going to make a good impression on some people who are actually trying to conduct a contest for people who are seriously entering the contest for a chance to win $1,000 freaking. So that's what I mean. It's that attitude of just, and people say, well, how is that disrespectful? But because we got to filter through that trash. We don't want that. We're trying to run a damn contest. It takes a lot of manpower and a lot of energy. And so, yes, it is annoying that I have to go in my Instagram DMs and I have literally 100 DMs from people just sending me SoundCloud links and nothing else. All they want is a view from DJ Penn. They don't give a damn about me. So is that disrespectful? Yeah, it is. Do I take it personally? No, but it is annoying and it does add up. And right now in 2019, people are hip to it. We've experienced decades of it. It's not like when Soulja Boy came out and was faking his numbers on MySpace. I don't think Soulja Boy got big because of spam. I think he got big because of some sort of deceptive tactics. But hey, God bless him for it. You know, it worked. He was the first and the last to do it. There will be no other after Soulja Boy. He's the first internet rapper, and he's the only one that can use those tactics because the second they got discovered, they were dead. It's not working anymore. And I think even you said it, Dame, the last time we spoke. Who are we looking at that actually made it because of this technique? I can't think of anybody.
Yeah. I mean, and pretty much like every marketing tactic that works is typically tougher the second time. So it's really hard to just copy what other people do and win. I mean, there's some things that you can copy, like more general things, like being consistent, and but in terms of like a specific strategy, like it's hard to, because the platforms continue to evolve. Like sometimes the lane is cut off. Like for example, funk volume. So I attribute a lot of our success to our early adoption of Facebook, right? So early days Facebook, it was a lot easier to grow a fan page, a lot easier to get engagement. That's not the case anymore. So it doesn't mean jump off of Facebook. It just means that we couldn't run the same plays and get the same results. Today, we would have to change up what we're doing. There's new platforms, the algorithms are different. The websites that are covering artists are different. There's very few blogs that are covering artists. Like the whole environment changes yearly. So you have to come up with a strategy that best suits that time and your brand.
Yeah, and then people always say, and this is the last I'm really gonna go in on this topic. Hopefully, people are always trying to say, but it works, but it works, but it works now. Send random links to people. I swear it works. It works. And there was this one producer that everybody swore proved me wrong. And I'm not saying anything negative about him personally. I disagree with his technique, and I'll show you why. And his name was Beats by Safe. Somehow, I don't know how he did it. He must have developed a really sophisticated bot because anytime any celebrity tweeted, he would reply with a link to his beats, right? And everybody swore up and down I was going to have to eat my words because he was going to be the one who was making it off of spam. And that proved that spam actually works to become successful in the music business. And I was sitting back like, all right, that's what you think, we'll see. Because the thing about it is, when your entire marketing plan rests on a tactic that violates the terms of service of the social media you use, it's not going to end well for you. It's not. And what he did do was he built a big buzz of people who knew him from his spam, not from his music. He was known for music links. He wasn't known for music. And unfortunately, that part of his brand was lost, right? He could have been the dopest producer on the planet, but that's not what the first impression of him was. And if you look at his social media today, he's got like 54 SoundCloud followers. So the ends didn't justify the means. I'm not making this number up. You can look for yourself. So if he does end up creating a hit record, which I'm sure he can, if he does end up creating a critically acclaimed project with his beats, it's not going to be because he dropped all those links. It's going to be in spite of him dropping all those links. It's going to be because of his talent and his work ethic as a producer, not because he replied to Michelle Obama's tweets every single day for 4 years straight.
So there's a cat named Twist Smith Production who said, I've tried contacting vloggers, web series, radio hosts, podcasts. Nothing seems to work to help me expand my brand. You have everybody on there except for fans. Like that's who's really going to speak to people. Like literally out of the 10 years I've been in music, 10 plus years I've been in music, when an artist sends me their music, out of all the artists that have sent me their music over the past 10 years directly, I've probably been impressed with like one of them. Like all the artists that I'm impressed with, I find out about from other people. So if you're reaching out to all these people and you're not getting a response, I'm not going to judge whether or not your stuff is good or not, but there's something about the way you're presenting it. There's something about your music or videos that's just not resonating with people. And that's what you have to change. If you're saying that you're reaching out to all these people, one, I would say reach out to fans first. But if you continue to reach out to these people and you're not getting the response you want, that is the message. Like you have to figure out how to I hesitate to say make better music, but you have to figure out a way to stand out amongst the thousands of people that are doing the same thing.
I mean, when I was in a rap group, I was also working for radio. And so I was seeing how radio operated. And let me tell you, commercial radio is not the place for unsigned or independent artists to be focusing their efforts. It's just not. I mean, Dame, you ran a successful independent that generated millions of dollars in revenue from the music, from the merch. Did you ever target commercial radio?
No, we knew we didn't really make the music that would make sense to try to invest our money into radio. But from what I understand, given I don't have any experience in it, but I do know that it costs a lot of money and it's a huge risk. A lot of people swing and miss in radio, and lose tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, without getting much in return. So why would we do that when there's just other ways to monetize and less risky plays to run, to run the business? So
Oh, we got some celebrities in here. Shout out to Technology. Shout out to Yondo. Um, Everybody go ask Yondo questions about niche marketing on YouTube because he's the king of that. What else was I gonna say? So, you know, when I hear of people getting frustrated because they're contacting these outlets, media outlets, radio outlets, and so forth, managers, this and that, it goes back to what Dame's saying, which is you got to focus on the fans first. And here's why: because when you look at anybody, I mean, I think Bad Baby's a great example. Everybody hates her, blah blah blah. Let's focus on what enabled her to sign a record deal based on a Dr. Phil interview. That Dr. Phil interview went so ridiculously viral, and it was all based on her personality. No one knew she wanted to rap, but because
she probably didn't even know she knew she wanted to rap.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think she did. I think someone was just like, "Yo, look, you here. We're gonna turn you into a rapper, and there's a $1 million contract waiting for you." Someone told me there was $1 million contract waiting for. I have no desire to rap. I'll start rapping. So I don't fault her for it. You just have to look at the landscape of how media and how labels operate. She had You can sit there and say, well, she doesn't have the talent, this and that. She had the numbers. This half of the music business is the business, right? I don't think her music was bad. Did she create it herself? Probably not. No, someone wrote it for her. So she had some other producer. But the business part of it was that she had millions of eyes on her. She had millions and millions of eyes on her. And she was such a hot topic in media circles that no matter what she did, she was going to get coverage. That means that a record label looks at her as a major benefit. They don't have to develop her, they don't have to invest in her branding because it's already there. It's already there. So if she drops a project, it's going to be all eyes on her because it's been all eyes on her up to that point anyway. So that's an extreme example. I'm not saying go on Dr. Phil, but hey, if you can go on Dr. Phil, do it and then act the fool and maybe you'll sell more beats. But right now, focus on the people that aren't in these positions that are looking for you to be the biggest thing. Record labels are looking for you to be big already. Media, they're looking for you to be big already. The only way you can make yourself big is either you get lucky and you have a viral Dr. Phil interview, or you're working from the ground up. So if you're going right to the label, but you don't have a foundation, you're building your roof before you're building your basement on your house, and you can't do that. And that the okay, never mind. We got a lot of questions coming. Besides hashtags, how do I find my fans better? Well, that's not you really finding your fans. That's your fans finding you. And this is something really, really important to note about social media these days. And it's not just social media. I mean, do we consider YouTube social media? Maybe we do, but we probably don't consider BeatStars social media. However, BeatStars has an internal search engine. And I had a talk with Abe the other day, and he let me know that based on numbers, their marketplace is rivaling YouTube's numbers for people searching for beats. So you have to understand that no matter what platform you're uploading your beats to, whether it's BeatStars, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Instagram, using the hashtags, using the right titles, using the right art, putting your best foot forward to make it easy for people to find you who are searching for your types of beats, you've got to do that. But to answer your question, as far as finding your fans, it's like a two-way street, in my opinion, and I'm sure Dame has more insight to offer. But every one of these social media platforms that you use has analytics. So check your analytics. It's going to tell you where your fans are. It's going to tell you their average age. It's going to tell you where they're from. Your fans might all be from Japan. So when it comes time for you to advertise your tracks, your beats, your music, you should probably invest that money into Japan. Don't invest it in Oklahoma, USA, if that's not where your fans are. If you're going to plan a tour, don't go to Germany. Go where the people are that already like you. And now, obviously, if you're just starting out, you don't have that much data, and that's why it's so important to consistently put out good content. I think a lot of people put the carriage before the horse, or the cart before the horse, which is they want the results without the content and consistency. And I understand, because it feels like you're having a conversation with yourself and putting content out. I mean, what's your advice, Dan? Because you got to put content out day after day after day after day.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely quality content, but you have to have an idea of who your fan base might be so that you can kind of narrow in on where you think you need to try to put your music, right? Are they young? Are they old? Are they higher income? Are they lower income? What kind of brands do they like? The more you know about your fan base, the more ideas you're going to come up with to, possibly partner with a brand that your fan base likes, or, a whether it's a clothing brand or a food brand. The more information you have about who your potential target audience is will help you craft a strategy specific to you. And it will be a lot more effective when you start putting out music or putting dollars into Facebook ads. Um, so, if your music is similar to another artist, reach out to that artist, maybe do some collaborations, do some videos. You know, all this stuff is not rocket science, but it is a lot of work, and you got to be prepared to do it. But you definitely need to have a solid understanding of who you are, what your brand represents, and who your target audience is, so that you're not trying to market to everybody, right? You, for some reason, might have a fan base that likes Pinterest, and you need to be on Pinterest. Might be on TikTok. You don't know. You might, because I think a lot of young people are on TikTok. So you might want to create a lot of videos with your music on TikTok and get creative that way. Um, do your fans like basketball? All that information is super helpful in terms of developing that connection and reaching more people like that. So, do you have all that information? Have you crafted a strategy around that information that uses that information? Put in the work. It's not easy.
And look, seriously, I've seen people waste tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars promoting their music and have gotten nowhere. And I've turned around and seen people who didn't invest a cent, but they invested all their time into consistently creating good content, not just music, but good video content, good fan engagement, good images. They toured. They might have lost money on their first couple tours, but they're making music for a living now. And the person who just dumped a bunch of money ended up having to get a day job or do something else. So I think a lot of people are intimidated by the prospect of hard work because, on the one hand, they think that you need a whole bunch of money just to make an impact when you don't. Or they think it's just too much of a time investment, but everything's a time investment. I mean, you go to college, that's a 4 to 8, maybe longer time investment. So if you're looking at your music career like it's only going to take 6 months to build up, but you're looking at every other career that takes 4 to 8 years to build up, then your mindset is already setting you up for failure. It does take time and it's a lonely journey, but you have to start. The only person that's going to start is you. The only person that's going to take that first step is you.
Yeah. And a lot of artists, and producers, they want fans quickly, right? And rightfully so. I mean, everybody wants that. But I would also encourage you to spend a lot of time with your early supporters, really getting to know them, really get them invested, because they're going to be kind of like your street team. There's going to be a lot of people that find out about you should you have like a lot of super fans, or even if it's a small core of super fans, like they're probably living and breathing your music every day, and they're telling their friends. Like, when you have those type of fans to begin with, things are going to start spreading a lot faster, but you have to invest the time. You can't just get a fan and forget about them. You have to invest the time into really enhancing that fan experience, engaging with them on social media, returning messages, returning emails, giving them opportunities beyond just the music to get involved with what you're doing. Again, it takes a lot of work, a lot of hours, but it's possible if you really have something worth if you really have music worth listening to and a brand worth identifying with.
And I definitely don't recommend taking breaks because, on the one hand, your social media algorithm standing is going to go down if you take a long break. And then number two, your fans are going to feel, even if you only have 10 fans, those 10 fans are going to feel like you abandoned them and they can move on to the next artist and become a fan of theirs. But someone asked an interesting question. Kanye West asked, do you feel every artist should stick with using the social media route. I feel like some people could market offline, but it may take longer. Interesting question, Dane. What do you think?
Social media is not a choice, man. Like if you want to be, because there were some artists, I'm not gonna name their names, that like had these creative plans that didn't involve social media, and they went nowhere fast. Like if it would be hard for me to think of a strategy that would work without leveraging social media at this point. Like we shouldn't even be talking about like whether or not you need to be on social media. You know, I can't fathom an idea that wouldn't leverage social media at this point. I couldn't
Yeah,
come up.
I couldn't either. And I think a part of any artist strategy should be outside of social media. Certainly, I can't begin to tell you the value of touring. I mean, when you look at independent musicians that are insanely successful, who are some of the most successful independent rappers? Tech Nine, Macklemore, Atmosphere. Um, I don't know. We can keep going and keep going. They were touring constantly. I mean, how often were Funk Volume artists touring?
I mean, we toured over 100 days a year as well. Like touring was a big part of what we were doing. But I don't like these days. You can have a career in music without touring. Like
Yeah,
you can make enough money in streaming to live a decent life. Should you not want to be on the road? Like there's some artists that don't want to tour that much, and Hobson was one of them. He didn't
because it
like to tour.
sucks. No one
Yeah,
does.
he didn't like the tour, and it was always kind of a headache come tour time. So and artists always want to try to get on the road like earlier than they're ready. That's what I typically find. Like there's no demand for them in these cities, but they want to do tours. So I mean, there's definitely creative ways to get on the road. I mean, we talked last night. We had an MEC session on a Thursday night. We typically have them on Monday nights, but this week we had it on Thursday night because our guests to accommodate our guests. But we were talking because somebody asked a question. He, in his situation, he said that he has, he can get about 100 people to his show in his local market, but was trying to expand outside of that. Well, I told him, I was like, look, there's probably similar artists to you that can get 100 people in their market and are trying to get to your market. Find 6 or 7 of those artists around the country that can do well in their local market, and collaborate on a tour that way. Use your local pool to help get these other people some exposure, and they can do the same for you. Come up with a cool way to brand it, a cool way to message and why you're doing it, what you're doing, and start coordinating that cross promotion and put together a tour that way. Because I'm sure there are artists in the same boat in every city that have a little bit of local pull but can't get out of their city. So why aren't you guys working together?
I'm
I
glad you
mean,
said
it's
that because it's the prospect of touring for so many artists is so intimidating. They say, "No, I need an agent before I can tour. I need a manager before I." No, you don't. You just need to set a damn date and show up to it and play music. I mean, it's not going to be glamorous, but unless you're filthy rich, you're not going to have a tour bus with a spa on it. You're just not. You're going to have to drive a Toyota to the Days Inn and play that show at a 60 capacity venue, hustle your ass off selling t-shirts and whatever at the end of the night. But it's possible to not lose money on these tours if you plan it correctly. And even
yeah,
if you're losing money on tours, you're still meeting people, you're still networking with other musicians, with venues, with promoters potentially in these different markets, and you're gaining a ton of experience on stage and off stage.
yeah. I mean, we're in the exact same position with the MEC tour. I'm not. So I'm at an age now, and I've done enough of my grinding touring where I'm not going to be driving that Toyota to the Days Inn. Like I'm just not going to do that. So I'm not going to plan a tour unless I know we're going to at least break even traveling comfortably. And until then, we'll just continue to grow our presence online. We'll continue to do our live weekly sessions. We'll continue to do our contests. Everything seems to be going in the right direction because we're consistent with the content we're putting out. So that's why this is the Music Entrepreneur Club. We're all entrepreneurs and we're all essentially doing the same thing. You guys just have a different product. We have an educational platform. We have information that we want to share. You guys are trying to share your music, your beats, your songs. So we're in the exact same space. It's just that, you know, the way we're doing it with the MEC Tour, we've identified these first 5 markets because we felt like the demand existed. And we've put the tickets on sale and it confirmed that the demand is there. And now that we're doing this, there's other cities that are saying, hey, come to my city, come to my city. So we're doing this in a we've mitigated the risk, you know, building the platform up and starting with only 5 cities, because even if the 5 cities were a bust, we'd be like, okay, we weren't ready to do that. Or maybe that was just a bad idea. But come to find out, we think it's a good idea because the response has been extremely positive. So we're thinking about touring in a very similar way to artists, or at least the way they should be thinking about touring. So we're essentially doing the exact same thing.
So I want to pick up on something that somebody said. It was about beats, but I'm going to bring it full circle. Let me see where it's at. Machete Mike said, I have one beat so far that's getting attention, but my others aren't really doing so. I think he means good. I think I found the sound that people like, and that's after taking a break for a little over 4 years. Okay, so this is something. Is Yondo still in here? If you search for J. Cole type beat on YouTube, whose results are going to come up? His results are going to come up. If you search for Young Thug type beats, whose results are going to come up? Cash Money AP. If you search for Jaren Ben type beat, whose results are going to come up? Kato. If you search for Rick Ross type beat, whose results are going to come up? So Special. If you search for Boom Bap type beat, whose results are going to come up? Fat Cat. If you search for Soulful type beat with hook, whose results are going to come up? Mine. People have their niche. And Dame brought something up earlier. It was just one sentence, but it was a brilliant sentence. And I actually have a piece of content scheduled for MEC that is all about this topic in 60 seconds. But that's not the point. The point is that it's a truism in the music world, which is that your music isn't for everybody. And that applies to beats. That applies to if you rap. That applies to if you sing. That applies to if you manage a musician or run a label. Your music is not for everybody. My beats are not for everybody. You know what I'm saying? I can't make beats like everybody else. You can't make beats like everybody else. So when Machete Mike says he has one beat that's doing incredibly well, that probably means that that's his niche and he just accidentally found it.
Or that just was a fire beat and you're not you're just not consistent yet. Or it's just a sound that's resonating right now. You know, but I definitely agree with Payne in terms of like, you know, developing a sound that you're known for, because anytime somebody wants that sound, your name is going to come to the surface quicker. My bad for cutting you off, Payne.
No, it's fine. I mean, because when you look at your former label, Funk Volume, there was a very specific type of fan that you targeted. It wasn't for everybody. Fans of Justin Timberlake probably weren't going to be huge Hobson fans, for example. Fans of
that was so yes, but in terms from a label perspective, I was trying to diversify that, and that's why we brought on Dizzy. I mean, Hobson was kind of close to kind of like a no, because I mean, Jaren and Hobson have were more similar than Dizzy and Hobson, but I brought on Dizzy because he was because I thought he was talented, but he was also so much different then Jaren and the artists that we were about to bring on before we crashed and burned were so much different than everybody else. So from a business perspective, I was thinking about it like, okay, by the time we have 10 artists and you say you're a hip hop fan, there's got to be somebody on the label. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I know we had a vibe because we got a lot of our fans from Strange Music and, you
Mm-hmm.
know, Juggalos and things like that. But I wasn't trying to get pigeonholed in that vibe, recognizing that the individual artists have their own brands as well. So it's an interesting thing to balance when you're running a label and you have like different artists on the roster.
But you couldn't have started that way. You had to
Right,
start
right.
getting
Yeah.
pigeonholed to some extent.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't have that found, and I think I had to learn that the hard way as a producer who was uploading beats online to be licensed. It was that I couldn't upload a pop beat one day, a hip hop beat the next day, a R&B beat the next day, and expect every video to do well. It wasn't until I realized that I had a certain lane that I needed to focus on. And then once I started focusing on that lane, I said, okay, I know this niche in terms of just searches and algorithm and SEO. I know that I have a good handle on this niche. Now I can slowly expand. You know what I mean? But I can't just do everything. So that applies to everybody, and it's just about knowing who you. I had this whole talk with Mike Trampy, and this is something that, and tell me if you've done this, Dame. This is something that marketing companies do. It's called avatars, and it's where you literally sit down and just envision who your audience is. I mean, down to you make up names for them. You make up what their habits are, where they shop, what they eat, that kind of thing. And then and you do that obviously based on your interactions with your fans, with your customers, with your clients. And once you build that list, suddenly you become a lot more aware of what your marketing strategy should be. Because if your fans are 18 to 24 years old, you probably, I mean, number one, you go on Facebook or Instagram, you can target that age group. If you know they're in the United States, you can target that. It's called geo targeting. You can target that country. If you know that they listen to a certain type of music or shop certain brands, you can target that digital behavior. That's what's so crazy and kind of scary about this online marketing thing, is that you can get really specific, right down to where a person shops online, or what's, whether they have a Spotify subscription or not. And it's powerful for you as the person doing the advertising, but you have to be aware that you need to do that first. Uh, but just in terms of sound too, you want to make sure that you're marketing your and presenting. I shouldn't even use the word marketing because it's all just about presentation. You got to present your music the right way to the
Yeah.
right people.
It's funny that you mentioned that. So I've never gone through that exercise for my own business, but I'm working with a public speaker, great friend of mine named Manny Scott, and we are working with an agency, and we literally just did that exercise like two weeks ago in terms of like naming the person that we think we're speaking to, giving them an age, what do they care about politically, are they a family person? How many kids do they have? Do they like to travel? Do they go to church? And once we kind of identify who exactly this person is, it allows us to kind of look through the lens of that person and hone our marketing strategy. Everything that we do, are we asked, in our case, this person's name was Kyle. So in everything that we do, we ask ourselves, is this speaking to Kyle? Like, will Kyle resonate with this messaging? And I think it's a healthy exercise to do. Felt a little bit corny for sure, but for people that are just starting out, I think it's a healthy exercise to do. Who's interested in your beats? You might be like a boom bap type cat where it's mostly like older artists that are still making music as just a hobby, or it might be people overseas that are still kind of stuck in the boom bap age. You have to have a good understanding of who you're speaking to for sure.
Yeah, and the more risks you take, then the more data that you collect, and with that data, you can. I mean, the possibilities are endless. It's just really the big. Someone must be talking
No,
crazy.
MVDB said $100 that Kyle is white. Yeah, I believe that in this case, the Kyle was white because the person the person that I'm working with, a friend of mine, he's black, but he's selling speaker training series. And in this case, and it's not to say like, okay, it's not to get to a point where, okay, get so specific that you can't talk to anybody outside of that. It's just to get you focused and making sure you're speaking to the right people. Obviously, there's people that aspire to be public speakers that are women, that are black, that are white, but in terms of who his message is really going to resonate with, it's healthy to go through that exercise.
And there aren't too many black women named Kyle either.
Yeah, Kyle's kind of, I mean, I know, I guess a couple Kyles, but yeah, Kyle is for the most part a white name.
Glad we can have this conversation. MBCTour.com. We're hitting 5 different cities at the end of March. So if you're in Denver, or if you're close to Denver, close to Phoenix, LA, Oakland, or Las Vegas, come through and use the. Can I give them the coupon code? This is kind of exclusive, right?
Yeah, no, we can. Yeah, go ahead. It's just MEC Tour 20. You can type it in the chat. And like some people are gonna be in like Fort Collins, and maybe an hour away from some of the cities, and they'd be like, "Oh, people never come to my city." Well, come to the Denver one, and like, "Oh, but that's like an hour and a half away." Well, we're flying 3 hours to get there. Like we're going more out of our way than you would have to go. So come to the event. It's gonna be dope. We got a lot of great information to share, and it's not just us. We got a lot of dope speakers in every city that we go to. So the experience is going to kind of change for us as well, which is going to hopefully keep us motivated and encouraged and energized, because we're not going to have to like say the exact same thing in every city. There's going to be different speakers in every city. So it should be a lot of fun. It should be valuable for sure.
Yeah, and trust me when I say that these conversations are important. Like I said earlier, I had an interview with CJ from Song Trust. We talked all about publishing, and producers have tons of questions about. Everyone has tons of questions about publishing, but especially producers. And so you're gonna want to come, and if you have a chance, take advantage of having a person who's an expert in publishing administration right in front of you to answer your questions in real time. I mean, because on the one hand, yeah, it's cool to talk to people online and in the comment section, but you don't know who has the best information, and it's also really hard to delve into a topic as complicated and convoluted as publishing in 160 characters or fewer. So that's why this is a really valuable tour.
And it's not just about the speakers, right? Like this is an opportunity. I know that most cities don't get events like this. We're hoping that people connect and network with each other. I think I saw in the chat already that there were 2 people coming to the Phoenix one. I doubt they knew each other prior to coming into this chat, and maybe they build a relationship, and it continues at the event, when they get to meet each other face to face, because we can do a lot via social media. There's a lot of relationship building that can happen via social media, but there's still nothing that really replaces that face to face interaction. So use this as an opportunity to network with your peers that are in your city that might just be a block or 2 away, but you've never come out of your cave because you're always online. Now you can meet up and talk with each other and exchange info.
Firewater Music says it seems like the dudes that have the huge following on YouTube are already there. Sorry, that's funny because of course they're there. But I know what you're saying. How many new dudes are blowing up on YouTube with beats? Um, I don't think new dudes are just blowing up. I think people are focused and they're building up a strategy, and within maybe a year or two, they're starting to gain visibility on YouTube. I think using words like blowing up are deceptive because it implies that people who gain success are doing so quickly and effortlessly, and that's just not the case. So when you look at somebody like damn it, man, I just interviewed him. Check my page. I interview a lot of producers that have really only been doing this YouTube thing for a year to 2 years, and they're making a living doing it. I mean, you can create a channel, and if you're hyper focused on niche marketing, if you're hyper focused on keyword and SEO optimization, trust me, you'll get results. The issue is that too many people are getting wrapped up in what other people are doing, and so they think they can't compete, but at the same time they're still trying to, in the sense that if I was just starting to produce now, and I looked at the charts and said, you know what, Drake and who are some of the biggest rappers right now. I mean, if I'm competing for, Gunna type beat or Drake type beat, it's not gonna serve me well, because thousands, millions of producers already have dominated those niches. So, l- you know, okay, thank you to Yando for chiming in. He said my channel started growing with J. Cole type beat. Seriously, he got in at the right time, because not too many people were making J. Cole type beats. And guess what he did when he saw success by uploading a soulful beat, and labeling it J. Cole type beat? He kept doing it and kept doing it and kept doing it, to the point where J. Cole himself actually contacted him, because he was dominating that particular keyword so hard. And this can happen. You never know which rapper, singer, or whoever is going to come out tomorrow and become a big deal, and their style is complementary to yours, to the point where you can start targeting their keyword. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, one of my recent interviews was with Jay Grooves, and he was talking about, what was I going to say? Daniel Caesar type beats. He's killing that keyword. Why? Because very few producers are playing guitar and making those types of beats. So there's always room for somebody new if they have a niche for themselves. If you're just jumping into the game and your beats sound like everybody else's, you got some work to do. So I would say don't expect um, unreasonably fast results if your product isn't there. See, Jay Shirt said, I got growth from token type beats and I got a token placement. I mean, how many producers are uploading token type beats? But you got to use your resources. Download TubeBuddy or vidIQ. It's free. Do your keyword research. I have videos about that too. You know what I'm saying? So just if you jump on, if there's a vacuum, if people are searching for certain keywords and there's not content there, and your content fits, then you know what to do. Yando says my traffic source type suggested videos 48%, playlist 19%, YouTube search 12.6%. So suggested videos are his major traffic source. That's a big thing.
Payne, I gotta jump off in a minute. I don't know if there's one more question or if I just jump off, but let me know.
Okay, cool. Who
Is there
else?
any more? Is there any more questions?
Uh, yeah. How many placements a month do you need to make the venture viable? I think, I don't know, Dan. Do you want to tackle that?
I mean, it depends what the placement is, I guess, and it depends what your cost, and it depends what your living situation is. If you don't need that much money to live, and you're in a city that's the cost of living is low, then you probably don't need that many. But every placement is not equal. All placements aren't equal. You know,
And what is a placement anyway? How are we defining it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming he's just talking about on somebody's album, but you can always try to get placements in television and film. Um, you guys should be checking out websites like Music Gateway and Song Trader for opportunities. I believe there's opportunities on there that are like beats only.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. But it's hard to get those. But I would be if I was a producer. If I was a producer, I would be like trying to capture every different revenue stream that I could. Content ID, trying to get placements on Music Gateway and Song Trader, have my BeatStars page, try to sell exclusives, try to work with as many up and coming dope artists as I can. Like I'd be super active. But you know, and then I also kind of have figure out what my brand was going to be. What does my brand represent? How could I leverage that to get more attention? On what you're doing. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to copy what other people are doing, but as a producer, there's so many producers that are doing well online, and there's a lot to learn from them. In terms of where they're posting their beats, how often they're posting beats. You get a feel for the quality, which social media platforms are they leveraging. All that information is helpful to go into crafting your own strategy. So if you want to learn how to sell beats, let's follow the people that are doing it, and then craft your own strategy, and then put in years and years of work. That's how
Here's
you
a
do
here's a question that I get asked all the time. This is from DB Bias. Is DistroKid a good place to start uploading beats? I encourage people to explore all platforms just to see what's going to work. I have no idea what's going to work for you. I don't know your sound. I can't predict what people are going to gravitate towards, but I'd say try them out. The thing with DistroKid though is be aware of what each one of these platforms means in terms of which royalty type it's going to generate, what the price points are, what the audience is, how to market on those particular platforms, because YouTube and Spotify operate really differently, and BeatStars operates differently from all two of those, right? So each platform comes with its own set of best practices. Now, if you're uploading beats to Spotify, or sorry, to DistroKid, DistroKid is going to place them on Apple Music, on Tidal, on Spotify, etc. These are streaming slash digital retail platforms, right? It's not like BeatStars where you can set your license tiers, and every time someone licenses a beat, you're making $20 to $100 off of it. This is this is something where someone's streaming your music on Spotify, and if they choose to buy it, they're only paying, you're making cents on the dollar, and every time they stream it, you're making a fraction of a cent. So it's different. I mean, and if it works for you, it works for you. What works for you is not going to work for the next producer. So you have to get a good idea of the landscape of these platforms that are using. What do you think about uploading
Yeah,
beats?
I mean, I don't. When I was working with producers, with Kato on Funk Volume, we never. I mean, and Spotify was fairly new, but I don't know what. I don't see a reason not to put your beats on Spotify, because I guess it's more exposure, and there are some playlists that just have beats only. But I wouldn't. I haven't done it myself, and I haven't monitored the success of doing that. So I don't know how important it is for you to put it on Spotify. However, if I was going to upload my beats to platforms like Spotify, I would probably use DistroKid because, for $20 a year, you can upload as much stuff as you want. And, as a producer, you're probably going to be uploading more beats than an artist would songs, I'm assuming. Um, so I think DistroKid would be a cost-effective way to go about it for sure.
Yeah, and there are platforms that are similar, and Amuse.io is an emerging one where apparently it's all free. I tried it once, it was free, so you can try it out.
Yeah, Amuse is free. I mean, that might be a cool. When we're gonna have Amuse on the MEC in probably I think 4 or 5 weeks. Um, but they're hoping to maybe that. Well, I guess they would allow producers on there too, because but their whole business model is trying to find talent to offer deals to, right? So, I guess producers, it's not like producers are barred from using it. So maybe that's even better if it's free. Um, but DistroKid will have the ability to split payments if you collab on a beat. Um, and I think a lot of artists are starting to use DistroKid. So, if you need to get paid out from another song, since if you're already on DistroKid, it's easy to get paid. So, yeah, I guess that's something to monitor. Like, is beats on Spotify, is that paying off for producers, and how is it paying off? So, anyway, Payne, I'm out, man. I will be. Is it my turn this Sunday for Insta Gym session? I'll be on Instagram doing something similar, bringing people live Sunday 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So people follow the Music Entrepreneur Club Instagram page. We go live every Sunday at 6. So.
And I'm going to go live again this week and talk about placements, because that's something that people have been demanding for a while. So stay tuned for that. How do you text? What's the number to text if you want a reminder about our free Insta Gym sessions?
Yeah, just text MECIG to 844-206-7800. If you can type that in, Payne. I don't think anybody's going to remember that.
Text MECIG.
Yeah, to 844-206-7800.
844-206-7600.
7800. 206-7800. Damn, now you're making me wait. Now you're making me question it. I had it. Yeah, 206-7800.
Okay, cool. So text MECIG to that number and tune in on Sundays for more free sessions. This Sunday will be Dame, and other Sundays are me, other Sundays are Kato. Sometimes we're all there together. And appreciate all of you tuning in. This will be archived, so you can come back and watch, and then I'll be back live this coming week. MECTour.com, that's our tour. MusicEntrepreneurClub.com, that's our mentorship program. Appreciate all of you. Peace.
All right. Peace, Payne.